Hello, it's Isabel, your life coach, and my dream is to stretch your mind to see what's possible in your life and to get you one step closer to achieve it. And today I have a wonderful treat for you. We have here my friend Dale Chimarino, and we are going to talk about something called Aikido. And we'll get into it after I introduce Dale to you. She is a rock-steady boxing coach for 6 years. She works especially with people that have Parkinson's disease. She is trained as a physical therapist assistant and has a black belt in karate. Now she's training for her 4th degree black belt. Watch out. And she says rock-steady is a perfect blend of therapy and martial arts. She is also a mother of 4 grown children, 2 of which are also black belts. She's a grandmother of 6 and recently widowed. Welcome, Dale. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Isabel.
All right. So before you explain to us how this movement works, I'm just going to read a definition I found for Aikido. And when I saw that term, I'm like, this is such a beautiful definition of what we can do in life when difficult things come at us, because you and I both have experienced some curveballs, right? We've been given some tough things to handle, and our job is to see how we get through that. So the definition of Aikido, I hope I'm saying this right, from Webster's dictionary, I like Webster's, it says Aikido is a Japanese art of self-defense employing locks and holds and utilizing the principle of non-resistance to cause an opponent's own momentum to work against him.
That's right.
That's a long definition. So maybe you can help us see what that looks like.
Yeah, so the Aikido method is a soft method. It gives you options. You're going to take that energy and you're going to redirect it. Okay, so if someone is coming toward you with a weapon or just with a lot of aggression, you just grab their hand and they're coming at you quickly. You just take their hand and you just throw them behind you. You use their momentum to continue on their pathway. It didn't cost you anything. You didn't stop to do anything. You're walking toward each other. You see this aggression coming, you pull it away. And you're just using their power to make them leave you. Okay, so you didn't have to punch them. You didn't have to kick them. You didn't have to stop what you were doing at all. You just, you stop it before it escalates into any kind of a fight. And that's called a soft answer.
That's beautiful. That's almost like a diffusing an argument before it escalates, right?
That's right.
If you think of that attacker coming at you as a person in your life that might attack you with words, right? And they come flying at you, then you can diffuse that by stepping through it, around it, right? Without getting hurt and without actually imparting hurt on the other.
Exactly. It's learning those tools, putting those tools in your toolbox. Right. So a lot of times.
Yes. And how would you?
Yeah, we take out those tools that sometimes hurt. You know, we've been hurt, so we hurt others. And that's not the Aikido way at all.
That's good. Is there a way you have learned a skill like that in karate where you noticed that there is an easier way to go through that obstacle?
Yeah, definitely. I was looking online. This is we use a little bit of Aikido in our karate training. We don't know a lot of Aikido, but there are a few things that we do that look like Aikido. So I went online and I looked at some videos, and
so did I.
Yeah, it was very interesting because they had interviewed a man that was a bouncer, a big man that was a bouncer at a bar or a restaurant, and
he said that he always would like to have people leave the restaurant, leave the bar without trouble, right? So he learned this Aikido method just so that he could show his strength without hurting anyone. So he went through a couple of movements that were very powerful, but very gentle as far as not hurting someone. He said it was like, it's like the flowing of a river. You use someone's energy to diffuse the situation. Yeah, so a lot of it is pressure points and just twisting an arm or twisting a shoulder in the opposite direction that is natural, and it just stops them in their path, and you just push them along. It's like when a child is so upset, they're having a major temper tantrum, and you go, oh, look at that butterfly. It changes everything. It's sort of like that.
Distraction.
You know? Yeah, distraction. And it's in Aikido, you're leading them in their commitment. Their commitment is coming towards you. Like if you think again about that person that's coming towards you with much force, much aggression, with a weapon or just with a punch. Okay, you're taking their commitment and you're just letting it pass by you like a river flowing. Okay, and it didn't disrupt you at all. You know, it just, okay, that's what you want to do, go do it. You know,
I actually have a word from you, exactly. I found this quote, and I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, Morihini Urishiba, something like that. And his quote was, "Study how water flows in a valley stream smoothly and freely between the rocks."
Yes.
And I'm very visual, so I love that picture of how the water just flows. So there's a rock, it's heavy, it's cold, it's harsh, but the water just kind of smoothly finds its way around. And I think that's what you just described, that you have power. And I like that you said this guy was strong, and I think I saw the same video. We might have found the same video. And yes, so you have strength, and I want to apply that to relationships. So of course there's always options, and there might be times when it's much safer for you to leave the room. I'm not saying apply this every time, all the time when somebody comes at you, but maybe there is a time when you just want to step into it, right? Sometimes you need to step into it. You can't ignore it, or you can't just leave the room, or it's just a moment where you want to show your strength also, but you're not getting involved in that power struggle, right? So you're entering into it, but you're redirecting, like you said, the movement. So there might be these words coming at you, this accusation, whatever it is, a blame, and you hear it, and you would rather shut down and withdraw, like a lot of my clients want to do when things like that happen. Or you can shoulders back, remember what your skill is, right? Remember you're strong, and just redirect it. And I'm trying to come up with a good example, but I just want everybody to know there are skills to learn, like you're learning, right? With your, is it still called kaidas, right? With those steps, those are skills, and you repeat them. Kadas, sorry. Kadas. You repeat them every week, right? At home and in the dojo. It's a skill, and it's repetitive, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I know who trained you, because he trained our sons also, right? And he would sometimes ask you to do something from when you were white belt, right? He would pull something out that you'd had to remember from years ago, but it was still a skill that you remembered because you had repeated it over and over and over, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I want whoever's listening to this to take away, that this is not something you do on the spot, right? You wouldn't tell me to use this Aikido movement because I have no clue how to do it. So this would be very unsafe for me to do. I have no skill in it, but you might be able to because you have practiced it.
Mhm.
So that's the same with relationships. I would never say, oh, yeah, try to deflect that, try to diffuse that without having practiced, without knowing where your strengths are and without knowing how to do it. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it does make sense. Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so,
And
yeah, what I was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna go, speaking about relationships, we spoke a little bit about this, that if you don't want to, we talked about the flowing, right? The flowing
Yes.
river, and you
Yes.
want to, this is a soft version of of strength, right?
Yes.
So you don't want to be a wall. You don't want to be a wall. When someone's coming toward you with their strength, if you're a wall, then you're going to have to use your extra strength to stop them,
Yes.
and then make them do something else. Okay, so I'm thinking the same thing with relationships. Okay, so if someone is coming at you with hard words or whatever, you don't want to stop and be harsh with them. You want to redirect. So with Aikido, that's the soft method. You know, you want to take their energy, and redirect it. Give them another way to use it. Okay, and I think that works very well in the example that you're trying to make for relationships.
Yeah, so it's like we said, it's like a redirecting, right? Because
Mhm.
it's gonna come out no matter what.
Yeah.
Right? So that's basically because a lot of adults have not learned how to deal with their emotions, right? So we just don't know what to do when we're in one of those states of upset or worried or scared or angry. There's a way to process that, but most adults don't know how to handle those big emotions, right?
Mhm.
So there's a way to process that. And I'm going to share an example without names. So someone in my family was bringing up an old instance that, something that wasn't, where we had done something that didn't have a positive outcome. And I had this accusation come at me. And in the past, I would have gone on the defensive, right? Either with words or body language or just repeating that in my mind over and over, kind of ruminating, right? As women, we're very good at that. But this time, I came with a quiet strength, and in a way, I redirected it was not necessarily taking the accusation because I didn't see that I was the only one at fault. So I just mentioned to that family member, you were in the room too. You were there too.
Mhm.
And that wasn't the response that was expected. So
Mhm.
it caused a little of that ouch. She just
Mhm.
turned my arm the wrong way, right? And it redirected that person's thoughts and it diffused it in a way that we were able to talk about something different. And I
Mhm.
felt very good about that because I didn't, like you said, I didn't become that wall
Mhm.
and I didn't take the punch. I didn't let it hurt me because that we're very good at that too, right? We just take everything in, even though it's not ours to take.
Right.
Like that punch that comes at you is not
Mhm.
necessarily meant for you to feel. That pain is not for you to feel. And I'm
Mhm.
trying, I'm helping my clients to see that that's not for you to carry,
Mhm.
right? It's there, it's theirs, it's for them to work through. And that we can't necessarily help everybody in our family, our adult children, our spouses, our in-laws. We're limited in our power of helping them, but we can work on ourselves.
Yeah.
So did that example make sense? And is that a
Yes.
proper example?
Yes. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's very good. You
Okay.
redirected it. Not only did you reject it, you redirected it.
Yeah.
And that's what you do when the energy is coming toward you. you don't even stop it. You just pass it along. You don't even take it in.
Yes.
Basically, you just grab that wrist, take that elbow, and you push them. You either push them away or you push them down. It depends on what the final outcome is that you desire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you want to finish them off?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take them down?
We can talk about that soon.
And
Yeah.
finish them off? Or do you just want to take them and let them be on their way? I mean, you know, you always have that choice, but the whole thing, it costs you nothing because you're using their energy.
Use their energy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
so when people are very, very upset, that there's a lot of energy expended, right? They're giving you off a lot of negative energy, and you know, their blood pressure is up. Maybe they thought about this all day long, you know, and they're coming at you with full barrels. They're ready to, you know, chew your head off, and you're like, no, it's not going to happen.
Not having it today.
Bye.
You deal with it. I hear you. It's almost like I hear you, I see you, I get this is hard, and see how you can work through this, because I can help you with this.
And it's not saying that what they're saying isn't important. It's important. It's important for you to love your family members and to help them through, but not if they're attacking you.
Exactly. And it's almost like because this is not a peaceful moment. When you feel like you're attacked, that's not a peaceful moment, and you don't need to engage in that fight, like we said, right? So there's, like I said, there's always more to a situation, right? I think the important thing is that you're changing the dynamic. You're changing the way it used to be. And I don't know how you or anybody who's listening used to react. I know one client, she told me, I gave her a visual. It wasn't the Aikido, but it was a different visual where a partner had been, like, let's just use the darts, like verbal darts, very negative, very accusatory words and demeaning towards her. And I gave her a visual of how she could not take that in. How I think I used the like, if this person is coming at you with like a stinky garbage bag, it's heavy, it's got all the old leftover food, and it's been in a Florida garage for a week, and it really smells. The heat makes it smell, and the spouse is coming at you and handing you this garbage. Do you really want to take that as yours? And you don't have to take it. And she loved that image so much. Like, oh, it's his garbage. I don't need to carry it, because it's constant. So she was able to visualize that, right? Hopefully not smell, but visualize it. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is not for me to carry. And she gave it back, and she was able to leave the room without getting into that fight, because that's also that was a habit, right? Engaging in it, pushing back, fighting back, however you respond. So you're changing the dance in a sense. Right.
Yeah, very good. That's powerful. That's good.
So are there any more thoughts on it? If not, I would
let me just read over my notes real quick.
Yes, go ahead.
I think we covered everything. Just, you don't have to punch or kick. Aikido gives you a choice.
Gives you a choice. I love that.
Yeah, so in life, you don't have to punch and kick.
I love that.
Just diffuse it and think of a river, and just let it keep on going right down its path.
Let it be the river. I love that, because it keeps flowing, and you can still be strong, because that's what I want to teach to us women, right? We can be strong and kind at the same time, to ourselves and to others. I actually did have an example here in my notes. it was also for a client where I helped her reframe like you make me feel like this, right? When you do this, you make me feel fill in the blank. So we went from you make me feel, right? That was like the defensive punch, right?
Right.
She got something and she punched back with you make me feel, which didn't go anywhere, right? That rarely helps.
Mhm.
So we went to I feel when you, and then the third step was when this happens, so without pointing a finger, when this happens, I feel, and I would really love. So that's, I changed Gottman's magic sentence a little bit. Gottman is a marriage researcher expert. And I changed it because I like the phrasing better. But you say, when this happens, there's no blame, right? There's no blame. It's just a neutral flowing of the river. When this happens, I feel there's no attack. This is how I feel. And I would really love. And then you voice your need, but you voice it in a very positive and a very inviting way, because
and it's not digging on the person, it's not making them feel little, like they've done something wrong.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. Like even this morning,
I wish I had a pen. I want to write that down.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It's gonna be in the newsletter.
Okay.
This morning, and I don't have to say names, right? They're private clients. It was about the wife had cleaned up the house, and there's I think 3 or 4 children, so lots of messes. And she had cleaned up, and she felt so good about it, and the spouse didn't notice. Okay, so in the past, that would have been you did this and you didn't do this, right? Often it's what they don't do. So I asked her, okay, next time use that phrase, as awkward as it sounds, because you're not used to it. Like when you use a new phrase with your spouse, or like you practicing a new skill, it's awkward, right? You're like, where does this hit? Like
right, left, up,
like,
down, turn around.
So, and that's what I said. It's awkward, but just practice it. It's a skill. And that's what I told her. And of course, affirm yourself. I asked her, be proud of yourself, affirm yourself. I did a good job. I cleaned this house and it looks great. And with that excitement and having your cup filled up first, that's what I always preach. When you fill up your cup first with your affirmations, and you and God, hey, we're a good team, I did this, right? And then you go to your spouse and say, wow, I cleaned the house, doesn't it look great? Like even something like that. And then the spouse can hear that and compliment back. It's a much nicer invitation than you didn't say anything when I cleaned the house.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So when we learn, and I think as a woman, that's a hard thing to learn. When we learn to fill ourselves up and see our own strength and learn how to, like I said, fill yourself up first before you come to your spouse or your children. Like, hey, I'm okay over here. I did a good job. I know it.
Yeah.
And then come with that energy. That flowing energy is a lot easier to receive than that defensive, accusatory one. Right?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And there's so many things. What struck me was there could be so many things going on in that husband's life, that have him distracted. Maybe he's at work, or he's not feeling well. Or maybe he just doesn't say a lot of things about the house and what she does, but if he could get in his mind that this is important to her.
Yes, exactly. And that's the beautiful thing in coaching, I find, is that these things come up on the table and then we can work through. And I often look at one spouse and the other, I'm like, did you hear that? This is really important for her or him.
Right.
And it's beautiful when it comes up and we can work through it. So I just want people to take away that this is a skill. Okay. And there is always an option. Like I want people to know that you're not stuck. There's always an option. And be open to that, be curious towards that, and learn a new skill if you need it, if you need to repair a relationship or find more connection in a relationship. Do you have any closing points, Dale?
I just would like to recommend you as a coach.
Oh, thank you.
That Isabel is always ready, able, and very qualified to help those trouble spots in your life. And she's very diversified. It doesn't have to be the run-of-the-mill husband, wife, child difficulties. It could be anything, because she's a good listener. And if she doesn't know the answer, she will help you find the answer. And she's a great resource to have. And I would just recommend anyone to give you a call and to get plugged in, because we all need friends, we all need help, and we need Isabel.
Oh, I appreciate that so much, Dale, and it was really an honor to work with you through some of those hardships. And also, if anybody listening lives in central New Jersey, look up Dale with Rocksteady Boxing. You have 2 locations, right, in Cranford and Staten Island. Look her up, Dale Chimarino. Maybe we can post it below in the comments, and learn from Dale. She's an excellent instructor, excellent human being, and an excellent friend. So thank you so much for your time. And as always, you are loved, deeply loved, loved beyond measure. Okay, see you next week.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Dale.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.